Hello, everybody. Afia Al-Faiz here of Wizard Web Marketing, and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for joining me, Sarah and Brandon. Hey. So yesterday we went over the 3 C's of promoting your business online, and the first part that we touched on was content. So today's webinar is about all things content creation. So let me pull up my little slideshow here and share the screen. Cool beans. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. Got it? Awesome, thank you. All right, so Wizard Web Marketing presents all things content creation, yay. So jumping right into things, the first thing that we should be writing for is emotional impact. No matter what you're selling, no matter what you're promoting, if people don't feel you in your content, it won't matter. Nothing will happen. They'll just scroll right past it and it won't matter. But if you write for emotional impact specifically, all of a sudden you will notice that people are engaging with your stuff more. You'll notice that new people are being attracted to your stuff more, because every time, like for example on Facebook, every time somebody likes or comments on your stuff, they not only see it, but all of their friends see it. So it expands your audience right away. So when you're creating content for emotional impact, you're going to want to think about turning points in your life. How did things make you feel? Not just how they made you feel, but what was that event? What was the incident that caused you to think differently about something or feel differently about something? And describe the event that triggered you to change your life, change your ways, or change something else about your behavior. When you write about stuff like that, people will be drawn into your story and they'll be right there with you. It'll be like they're living it. So when you're creating for emotional impact, I posted a tip on Facebook earlier. I'll just go over it. Just gonna pull it up on my phone really quick. So the main thing about writing for emotional impact, if you want to create a more powerful connection with your audience, focus on what triggers your emotional state. What happened the instant that everything changed for you? What made you hold your breath? What caught you off guard? What gave you a sigh of relief? What was that thing that changed your state? When you do that, you change the state of others. You know, usually you want to make people more, you know, excited or happier, but sometimes if you bring people into your pain and then show how you transitioned out, it's just as effective and maybe even more so. So you definitely want to write for emotional impact. Now, when you're creating content for your audience, using humor is okay. There's this idea that you can't use humor in advertising, like it's somehow inappropriate, but the funny ads are the ones that get the strongest followings. When you're writing stuff that's funny, what you can do is just write what you were gonna write it anyway, and then think about what would be the most absurd scenario to go with this. What would be the most ridiculous thing that could happen in this moment? And whatever pops in your head, as soon as it pops in your head, write it down. And then from there, what would be even more absurd? What would just be the most random thing to ever happen? What do you think your audience would find funny? What do you find funny? The things that you find funny, they'll most likely find funny, and you can always beef up your writing and make it, you know, a little crazier. Sometimes people need crazy in their lives. So, you know, be that service. Let people be crazy and be crazy with them using humor. And then when we go over the questions, since it's just a few of us here, once we go over the questions and stuff, we can go over specific techniques if that's something that you wanted to expand on and use. Next, regarding creating your content, is content repurposing. You can use, when you're creating something, you're using the main idea, and you can use that same idea to do other things. You can shorten it, you can expand it, you can make it into a list, you can make bullet points, you can do a video on it, you can do pictures on it. That's coming up later. But you can always repurpose your ideas and use it for other things. You can also use your ideas for guest posts. If you ever get interviewed on a podcast, you can use the same ideas that you've used before. There's a really awesome marketer named Diva Rengia. She basically uses her success story in every single ad that she does. She repurposes her content like crazy, and it works. It works for her because the story still hits your heart. It still hits you right where it needs to hit you to get you to act and respond to her call to action. So once you have your story down, once you have everything set, and you know exactly what people are looking for from you, what they want from you, repurpose your content. Talk about the same thing a bunch of different ways, and it works every time like a charm. Now lists. I put this here specifically for you, Sarah, because you had asked a question about listing on yesterday's webinar. Basically, all you're doing, lists are so valuable because you're giving people so much to do. You're giving them so many different ways to accomplish their goals. And it doesn't even take a lot of effort. All you have to do is come up with a bunch of ways to do the same thing, make a list of it, and then from there you can expand as you see fit. You can pretty much repurpose your list. That's another form of using the same content, and then it goes in so many different directions, so many different avenues if you build stuff using a list. Now, all of this is the most effective on a blog or on a Facebook post, because blogging is still really powerful. When you have a blog and you're creating content for your blog and you have all of your search engine optimization straightened out, all of your content is going to draw people to you, everybody that's looking for what you have to offer. And if there's a whole bunch of people offering the same thing, but they don't quite know how to say it, or they're not as effective with SEO, blogging is really powerful for making sure that you stand out. And over time, you get rewarded for your consistency from Google. You get rewarded for, blogging the right way. You get rewarded for your backlinks. Everything you do to perfect your blog, Google recognizes that and makes sure that you're the first thing that they see, because of course, Google, is a service, and they want to make sure that if somebody is looking for something, they have a quality answer. They have something that they can go to that's going to give them the answer that they need, and so they won't have to be searching around to different websites and really scouring Google for what they're looking for. So blogging is really powerful for that, and so are Facebook posts. Google also ranks Facebook posts. I can't emphasize that enough. Google will put, if your Facebook posts are congruent with your website, if you have the backlinks linking your Facebook page to all, if everything is congruent, Google will show people your Facebook page as well. So all of that goes together. Now, it's great to write. Some people are good at it, some people aren't. But it's really important to also make good use of images. I'm sure you've heard the quote that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and it's true. And the thing is, you can use the 1,000 words in that picture to influence your writing, because all you have to do is look at the picture, think about how that picture makes you feel, write notes on it. It doesn't even have to make any sense. Your notes don't have to be coherent. You could just write whatever it is that comes to your mind. How does this image make you feel? What do you think people are going to think? And then from there, you go back and edit everything that you write, make sure that it has an emotional impact. If you want to add some humor in there, you can do that. But the image is a really powerful source of inspiration for whatever it is that you're going to be writing. So like Sarah, I know you're a health coach. If there's an image of like a before and after of someone who really turned around their life and really changed their whole appearance, and it's obvious in the image, you could do so much promoting your business with something like that. So that's one way that an image would work. And videos are even more impactful. Another thing to emphasize is Facebook Live. Facebook will give you pretty much free exposure if you use their live service. The only thing with lives is if you aren't really prepared, maybe it won't be as impactful. It's good to be prepared for your live video and to maybe have a good caption on the video so that people will know what it is that they're going to be listening to, and they'll be more likely to tune into your video. But even if you just shoot a video, your content, what's in the video, what are you teaching people, is it going to be worth their time? All of that needs to be considered. And also, you can just script it out. It doesn't even matter. You could read something straight off paper, and your video will still matter, and it will still have a strong impact on promoting your business. So that's pretty much it in terms of the overview of everything. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. Okay, Sarah, so you've got the floor here. So writing for emotional impact, did you have any questions about how to do that, or do you have any examples, or how do you typically write your stuff?
To be honest, I'm not great at doing this.
Okay, that's good.
I'm really like guarded on social media, and I overthink everything. So I do struggle with this, and I tend to probably leave the emotion out of it because I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm putting too much out there sometimes. So I do struggle with this, and I'll write a lot of posts and then I'll just delete them. So if I've wrote something and I think, oh, that's too emotional, I'm like,
you could be sitting on a gold mine. Thank you for sharing that with me. Now that I know you're like uncomfortable, I appreciate you even sharing that with me. Share it. There was a post. I wonder if I could pull it up, if I could find it. There was a post I did. I don't know if you remember. I think because you tend to like respond to my stuff a lot, so I appreciate that. But there was a post where I was starting to do live meditations, and I put it out there that I've pretty much had stage fright since I was about 4 or 5, and so many people related to that, and I was horrified of posting it there. But you know, vulnerability sells. Vulnerability sells. If you are feeling something about what you're writing, and you feel like maybe I shouldn't post this, that's exactly what you should post.
Okay.
So I know it's probably...
You might regret saying that to me.
Yeah. Like, Sarah, how you feeling? Okay, post it. So
you go on Facebook tomorrow, be flooded with crazy...
You could
up and down, like, oh, yeah.
They should told me to do it. But yeah,
and it was like, stay away. No, okay, that's awesome. Yeah, great, cool.
Or you could preface it by saying, "Do not read this post."
that would cause people to read it. Yeah,
exactly. And
forbidden.
You can even say that, because if you start a post by saying, "It took a lot for me to write this," right there, they already know, oh my gosh, I'm about to read some stuff I'm not supposed to read. Let me grab some popcorn and pay attention.
I'm reading her diary.
I know. And that's the thing. It's like a big old diary with pictures. Everybody is in everybody else's business. But the thing is, it's good for business itself. If you share who you are, you know, like it's a very personal business model when you promote yourself through Facebook. So to a certain degree, you do need to emotionally connect to people, even if you're uncomfortable doing it. Even if you posted something and then you went back and deleted it. Like, let's say you posted something and it got a huge response. Even if it got a huge response and you're uncomfortable with it, you can still go back and edit that post. So even if you're out of your comfort zone, you could go back and get comfortable and let people know, you know what, I shared this. It took a lot for me to do that. I appreciate everybody's support, and move on from there. And that's a good opportunity for you to connect with people, because when they comment, when they see that you're vulnerable, when they see that you're really sharing something that's important to you, that touches your heart, they'll comment on your stuff, and then that's a good way for you to establish a relationship with them, because they're trying to relate to you, and that makes it so that you can possibly work with them. So now, in terms of writing that kind of stuff. So you do write stuff. It's just that you're not comfortable sharing it.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll write stuff, or I'll think about writing a post, and then I'll just like, oh no, that's yeah. And if I don't get it in that moment as well, then I forget about it. So I need to, and if something distracts me, then I'll just forget about it and I'll just move on. It's lost.
And that's okay. I mean, we're both busy, have family and to take care of and stuff, but like keep in mind that your notes don't have to be coherent. So if you have an idea and you forget the whole idea, you could just write bits and pieces. Just write bits and pieces of what you remember. And then when you have time, go back and revisit it and expand it from there. You can always make something bigger. You can make something up. Not that you're going to be dishonest, but what I'm saying, you can always create your story from wherever your starting point is. A single word can inspire everything you do for a whole week. So, did you want to go over specific techniques, or was this more that you were kind of out of your comfort zone, so to speak?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll go over techniques as well, but yeah, that is very much out of my comfort zone, very much. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of writing for emotional impact, I like to start with stuff that makes me feel really strongly, something I feel really, really intensely about. In terms of health and wellness and stuff, like what's that thing that makes you so angry about the industry, or makes you so like whatever? And then how do you go from being angry to getting some relief from that anger? What changes did you make? What did you do to trigger that change in your state? When you trigger that change in your state, you're also going to trigger the state in the change of state in the people that are reading it. So it's really important to keep in mind the intensity of what you're feeling when you write about stuff. Not just something where it's like, oh, I thought about this today, but something where you're like, man, that really pissed me off. I really want to change this. So can you think of something on the spot, or do you have something that you often?
Oh my, there's so many things. A lot of things make me angry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When people aren't taking care of their health, when they blatantly know that their health is in jeopardy and they're not doing anything about it, they've given a diagnosis and they choose not to do anything about it. That upsets me. It really does. And I feel like I care more for them than they care, or I care more about doing something for them than they care about it. So that would be one.
Now see what you just said, that could go in so many directions, because it makes you really, really angry when people deliberately don't take care of their health. And it also brings up the idea that I really just can't believe that I care more about people than they care about themselves. That's just really heartbreaking, And then you would also, like, what would you do to change that? How do you think you could feel differently about that? Who inspires you to, or what inspires you to move past that and continue doing what you do if that makes you so upset?
Yeah, that's where I struggle. Because, I'm looking for people who need my help and who are looking for my help, but for people who, like these people, they're not, so they're not willing to be open to my help.
Okay.
So that there's kind of a block there.
Well, okay, so you're looking for people. I'm just gonna write this up, get an idea of what it looks like to come up with the idea. So the main idea is people. Okay, I care more about people's health than they care about their own. Okay, so you're looking for people who need my help and are looking for my help. It's a little redundant, but hey, it's the first draft.
Yeah.
Don't worry about any of that. Don't worry if you write the same word twice. Don't worry about misspelling. Don't worry about typos. Just get it out. Just perfect as it is. Just get it out. So, makes you upset because there are so many tools available to be in optimal health, such as your garden tower. So, if you're thinking about the content, talk about what it is that kind of makes you upset. You know, if people would just invest in growing their own food, that's one way. And oh, look, we just started a list.
Oh, okay.
Grow your own food. See, like when you're starting to get heart-centered about what it is that really makes you feel really strongly about your business, the reason why did you get into this, and you just let it pour out and just be imperfect, it inspires everything, and you never ever ever have to worry about how to create your content ever again. As long as you speak from the heart and you're being authentic and you know you're polishing things up the best you can, people will feel that. They can feel that you're trying, and will connect.
Awesome.
So that's where we can start.
You got to send me that.
Yes, I will be taking notes. I'll also take notes on the one from yesterday and make it into like maybe a little PDF or something, and have that sent out to the people who attended or who replayed it. So yes, I will definitely take some notes on this and get it sent over to you. So so yeah, that's basically how you write. The basics of writing for emotional impact is to connect to what makes you feel really strongly, your negative feeling about your industry, and then how do you get to that change of state to where you know there's that light at the end of the tunnel, there's that hope that what you're doing is the right thing. That's what writing for emotional impact basically is, getting people from point A to point B, C, D, whatever, emotionally. So did you have any other questions about how to do that, or anything else you wanted to go over specifically?
No, that's great. I'll give that a try because that's perfect.
Okay, great.
So I love that. Yeah, and I'll ask you at the time, but yeah, I'll give it a try. Yeah, I'm sure I'll come back to you with loads of questions when I've done it. But
okay, awesome. And since it's just us, Brandon is the founder of Wizard Web Marketing, so that's
awesome.
Why kind of quiet.
Hi.
Hey guys, I got a video. I'm kind of on the road right now.
Ah, okay.
Thank you so much for
just being mysterious.
Yeah. But I'm not really. I mean, you know, you find me on Facebook, anywhere.
Awesome. So next, regarding creating content is using humor. How do you think you do with that? Do you like intentionally create humor, or do you pretty much see things that's funny and just share them, or what's your current method for using humor with your promoting your business?
I probably just recently cleaned up my Facebook, and I'm trying to make it more professional. In the past, I always try to use humor, but I tend to self-deprecate. That's my humor a lot of the time.
That's okay.
Not my husband's looking at me like.
As long as it doesn't go into like as long as it doesn't go into like self-hate, hey. Whatever.
No, it's just like, you know, if I do something stupid, then sometimes I'll share it online. But I don't want to share too much because people will think I'm stupid. Do you know what I mean? So I try to hold some of it back. But yeah, that's probably, like, I don't really probably use humor that much. I think a lot of it, honestly, when it upsets me, I get upset. So like if it's something that like it touches my heart, I'm upset about it, so I can't often use humor. I do struggle with that. I do get quite serious about health and nutrition, and I'm trying to lighten up a little bit, but it does get me, like, I get really excited about it, but very serious about it as well. So
you can use that. Like, be like, hey, you know, guys, sometimes I take health and wellness a little too seriously.
Yeah.
So it's your delivery, it's how you're
Mhm.
feeling, and once your audience gets to know you, they can tell when you're joking.
Mhm.
You know, they can feel it. I mean, humor is human. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody wants to laugh. You know, you can't really pinpoint
Mhm.
when something is gonna be funny. It just hits you. It comes out of nowhere. It's that surprise factor that makes things
Mhm.
funny sometimes. So, you know, if you're really like, man, y'all, I took myself so seriously, let me tell you what happened. And if you just talk about the way that you kind of lightened up, that's the beginning of humor and connecting to your audience using something that's funny, because everybody needs to lighten up.
Mhm.
Everybody goes through something where they take something too seriously, and then they realize they
Mhm.
were being ridiculous, or maybe going too far, and that's okay. Everybody does that, and
Yeah.
it's a good way to relate to people.
Mhm.
Now, specifically for humor, me personally, I used to study comedy and what was funny, and
Mhm.
I tend to lean towards the absurd. So
Mhm.
the more ridiculous something is, I start there and then I tone
Mhm.
it down. So
Okay.
even thinking about it, like, do I want to tell this joke? Probably not, but it would probably
Mhm.
be funny. So if you just trust yourself when it comes to humor,
Mhm.
people will get your intent. So I would say to just trust it.
You say that a lot of my jokes just go over people's heads, or a lot of people don't get my humor. Like,
It's,
people just look at me blankly, like.
you know what? You can use that. Like
Okay.
you can use everything. I heard a quote by Steve Martin recently.
Mhm.
It said, "Everything you think, see, feel, touch, hear, everything is usable." So if you feel like people don't react well to your jokes, tell a bad joke. You know, talk about the
Okay.
crickets before
Mhm.
talk about the crickets before the crickets appear.
What? Is that a saying, or is that something you just made up?
I totally just made that up on the spot. It could have been implanted in my subconscious by someone else or some other idea, but I'm gonna take the credit because it's my brain, damn it.
There you go. It's
So yeah,
original.
feel free to use humor. It is not inappropriate as long as you're not like intentionally offending people.
Uh-huh.
Humor is cool, and it's
I
pretty
think
easy.
I'm always trying to not offend anybody. That's my thing. I'm like, I don't want to ever offend anyone.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
people
trying
are gonna
always.
get offended,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
that's gonna happen. But as long as you're not intentionally
Mhm.
trying to offend somebody, like they'll get it. It's
Yeah.
not like rocket science.
Mhm.
So they're not gonna like treat you as if like you're the worst person in the world or anything like that. It's
Mhm.
cool. I'm sure your jokes are hilarious. I enjoy your humor.
Thank you.
So
That's appreciated.
you're very welcome. So we have about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So, and we don't have too many slides here.
Mhm.
So content repurposing. So that's pretty straightforward. Like
Uh-huh.
whenever you make your list, whenever you make whatever, break it down and take the little chunks of ideas and
Mhm.
expand them. And next thing you know, you have enough content for a book. Next thing you know, you have enough content for a week's worth of blog posts. Next thing you know, you never have to think about what to talk about ever again. So if you
Mhm.
really get good at repurposing your content, you can really get a grip on your main idea, the main thing that you want people to take away from whatever you have to teach,
Mhm.
and coast.
So how do you do that without being too repetitive and be like, oh, she's harping on again? That kind of. I obviously have issues. I think people are thinking that about me, but
You know what?
how do you?
When it comes to being redundant and like reusing the same thing,
Mhm.
people won't remember it. They won't
Okay.
remember. People are
Okay.
just scrolling through their news feed, scrolling through your blog. You could literally talk about the same thing and they won't remember unless
Okay.
somebody that tunes in frequently. And that's the kind of person that you want to notice that you're talking about the same thing.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but if you really are self-conscious about that, grab a thesaurus. I use thesauruses like crazy. I personally don't like being redundant either. So I will go through the thesaurus, find 8 different ways to say the same thing, and use all 8 of those things in the same post just to talk about one idea. So a dictionary, a thesaurus, they're really, really, they seem like basic tools, but they're gold mines. I remember hearing that Malcolm X, when he had his breakthrough and he became an activist and all of that, it was after he read the dictionary. This dude read the dictionary. The dictionary. I was like, well, I'm going to read the dictionary too. So yeah, sometimes I will go through and read the dictionary. You understand a lot more about language. You understand what words really mean. You understand when people know what they're talking about. And you find more effective ways to communicate with people.
I don't even own a dictionary anymore.
You do, well, just go online. Google is the ultimate dictionary. Wikipedia is the ultimate encyclopedia. All of the tools are here. This is the best time to be a creator ever. And it's only going to get better. So purposing, just if you're uncomfortable talking about exactly the same thing, be inspired by a thesaurus, because if you find a different word to talk about the same thing, that new word might trigger other things in your brain and your subconscious, and it might bring up other things for you to talk about. So definitely take advantage of a thesaurus. Another thing that I like to use is my emotion thesaurus.
I saw that on your post, yeah.
This thing is great. It's fantastic for emotionally connecting with people, because it includes all of the physical characteristics when you're feeling happiness, desperation, defeat, amazement, adoration. How do people look when they feel that way? What's going on inside their head, whether they're mental responses. So like there are different kinds of thesauruses for writers that focus on being able to elaborate on the emotional connection. Another thing are writing prompts. So it's just 1,000 awesome writing prompts. When you go through the writing prompts, sometimes they're random. They don't have anything to do with anything. The one I saw today was, you're a disc jockey and today's your last day. What are you saying to your audience? And I was like, what? I'm not a DJ, but what if today was my last day marketing? How would that make me feel? What if today was the last day you were a health coach? How would that make you feel? You know, it would probably make you feel really sad at this point, because you're in the middle of building your business, you know? So, you know, why do you love it so much? Why does it hurt you so much, the idea of not being a health coach? What would the world be losing by not having you as their coach? And just use it as inspiration. You can be inspired by anything. And writing prompts is a really simple, easy way to like get a jump start on all of that. And this thing, I think this was like $5 on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, and there's 1,000 of them in here. 1,000.
Awesome.
And the writer's pretty funny too. You put there, hey, you can use it. You can give me credit. That'll be cool. You don't have to give me credit, but if you do. So shout out to Ryan Andrew Kinder. I use your writing prompts. Okay, lists. We kind of went over lists. Just, lists are really easy if you're busy. If you're busy and you don't really have time to think about writing a paragraph, just list it. List it. Make a to-do list of everything you want your clients to do. What do you wish they would do? How do you wish that I would follow your instructions exactly, you know? What are all the different ways that I could do this? What are your top 10 favorite recipes? Why do you like them so much? Like anything. Make a list of anything. And it's just a great way to get your content out there. And then once you make this list, if something stands out to you as something that you could expand on, boom, there's your content for the next day or for the next hour or whatever. And then there you see something like, oh man, I could have added that to it. Boom, there's your next post. And then you could combine them all to make one super long post, like a really valuable post. It just goes in a totally different direction from there. So
Mhm.
lists are a really great way to plant the seed of having some really great content.
Mhm.
Now there's 2 minutes of the recording left, so I'm
Okay.
gonna wrap this up a little bit. All
Okay.
of the things we just went over, they work on blogs, they work for Facebook posts. They also work with your images. You can make a quick image and just post the list there, and that makes it shareable content. People love sharing those lists, that stuff where like just a graphic with the words on it.
Mhm.
People love those things and they love to share them because they're valuable. They give people stuff to do in a lot of different ways to solve their problem. So even if you just use an image and you make a quick, like for example, I like to use a program, like an app on my phone called InstaQuote. And actually these slides were made with InstaQuote. And they have a bunch of different fonts on there. You can make it bigger, smaller. So if I wanted to make a post with a list, I would just pull up InstaQuote, put it there, slap a picture on it, put it on Facebook, bam, and then make a caption where, you know, elaborating on why this is important, why should you care about this post. So images,
Mhm.
any type of image. The same thing goes for your videos. If you want to just make a video of a list that you would like to create, you can do that. Just keep a postcard or something and just speak.
Mhm.
And bam, there's your video. And that's it.
Awesome.
So it looks like we have less than a minute. Thank you so much for joining me, Sarah. For everybody that's watching on the replay, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, there's going to be a link to my Facebook profile on the bottom of the video. And otherwise, I'm out. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay. How do I turn this thing off? Okay, I got it.
Okay, you're done.